I want to tell you that, remind you that it is a spiritual issue. And what you see with your physical eyes happening in the world, it is spiritual. Evil operating through human beings, influence. And this is what happens, and it goes out of control when you don't have perfect parents guiding you, being a good example while growing up. At least decent parents. And these people don't have it. They're acting out. I would encourage you to do the silent prayer video. Silent prayer video, so you can see what's going on, folks. And the Christian world is giving the children of the light permission by not saying anything or getting involved. They're giving them permission to just go nuts. And believe me, it is out of control, and you haven't seen anything yet. Before election time, between now and November, all hell will freeze over because they want Donald Trump out. And if they have to sacrifice police officers and blacks and the lives of the citizens, they will do it because they don't care about you. They care about control, power, and wealth. Donald Trump, the Great White Hope, is in their way. And his supporters are in their way, even though they're not speaking up. But secretly, they will be voting for the Great White Hope. And the Democrats, which are just an evil group of people, the liberals, the representatives. And you cannot be a Christian and vote for the Democratic Party. If you vote for the Democratic Party, just know Satan is your daddy. All right? I've noticed that hardly a day goes by now when you don't see some black, mostly seem to be black guys right now, fighting with the police. They have been given permission to do that now. They want the guys to fight with the police so that the police can take them down. In some cases, they get killed, the guys. And these race hustlers can use the cops for money and attention, power. And the black guys are too willing to do it. And if you know, they're all yelling and screaming now while fighting with the cops. Fighting with the cops. And you can see it happening. If you fight with the cop, whatever happened to you, you deserve it. Because the officers have a responsibility to protect themselves. So you deserve what you get. Rev.com is reporting that Garrett Rolfe, I believe, Garrett Rolfe, the officer that shot that black guy down in Atlanta, Georgia, the guy fighting with them, resisting arrest, took the officer taser, shooting at the officer. And what do the blacks do in that town? The black, no good male or female there, called it a murder. It was a murder. And now the officer, Garrett Rolfe, is facing 11 charges, including a felony murder. Here's that soundbite from Paul Howard. And this is another hateful, evil, black Atlanta DA. Watch this.
So these are the charges that we have had filed today, signed by one of our Superior Court judges. These are the 11 charges against Officer Rolfe. The first charge is felony murder. This is the death that is as a result of a underlying felony, and in this case, the underlying felony is aggravated assault. with a deadly weapon, and the possible sentences for a felony murder conviction would be life, life without parole, or the death penalty.
That's pure evil. Now the world is seeing in a big way why black people are suffering so much. Because they're evil. They are pure evil. This DA, Paul Howard, is an evil man. And I hear that he's up for re-election, and he himself has been in all kind of problem situations, I heard. Not sure what that's all about. But that's evil. It's evil for the mayor to call it murder, and it's evil for this DA. But they hate white people. I've been saying for years now, 30 years, that most black people hate white people. Now you can see it for yourself. I'm not making it up. This man is pure evil. He doesn't care that you know it, because he knows that white people are not going to speak up. They're not going to say anything. This is so unfair to this officer that it's just pure evil. And I hope somewhere this officer is set free, and that he get his life back. I don't know if he would want it back as a police officer. I wouldn't take that risk if I were white. But this man, and I want the blacks to know, you're not going to get anywhere by doing this to other people. Your life is not going to get better just because you may get some money from it. You might. But your life and your children's life and their children and children will be pure hell, because there's no peace in hating. And white people are not to blame for the destruction of the blacks. It starts in the homes. And it starts in the schools and these phony black leaders. The blacks are not thinking for themselves. And it's not unusual nowadays to hear these black people say all this crazy stuff. They know it's not true. All in the name of Jesus. So what they're trying to do to this officer is pure evil. And this black guy has no shame. The black mayor down there, she has no shame, because they're children of Satan. Black people are not suffering, not all, but most. They're not suffering because of racism. Satan is their daddy. They have hatred in their hearts. They're not of God anymore. They're not of family. This man is trying to say this with a straight face. Paul Howard. May God have mercy upon the souls of black people. I hope now you believe me when I say that the only purpose for blacks on earth is for destruction. Not those who are overcoming that fallen state, but most. Whatever these people want them to do, if it's destructive, they do it without hesitation. It's just mind-blowing. I never thought I'd live to see the day when black people would just be out of control like this. I'm having, unless she changed her mind, I'm having a preacher on my show next week who agree with all this mess, all in the name of Jesus. And she's black. And she's supposed to be a preacher. It's just mind-blowing. But I understand it. It's just mind-blowing. I didn't know that it would get to this point. The worst thing that ever happened to the blacks was the civil rights movement. They lost their families. The people who were leading that phony movement sold the blacks over to the Democratic Party so that they can control the blacks, the Democratic Party, as well as the so-called black leadership. Here is the conclusion from this phony Atlanta DA, Paul Howard. He concluded that the black guy that was killed by the cop after fighting with the cop and running, this phony black DA, I feel sorry for the whites in that I hope you never have to go to trial with these folks, because If black people are on your jury, you don't have a chance. Even when they can see that you're innocent, they will still accuse you of being guilty. You don't have a chance. It's over for the court system.
One of the things that we noted from our evaluation was that Mr. Brooks, on the night of this incident, was calm, he was cordial, and really displayed a cooperative nature. He did not pose an immediate threat of death or serious physical injury to the officer or officers.
So you heard that, right? Watch this.
What kind of drinks did you have?
I'm not sure. It's something she ordered. She said top shelf or whatever.
Oh, I think you've had too much to drink to be driving. So put your hands behind your back for me. Here,
Watch how cordial the guy is. And cooperative. There you go. See, that's so nice, huh?
Hey, stop! Stop fighting! Stop fighting! Stop fighting! You're gonna get tased! You're gonna get tased! You're gonna get tased! Stop!
Watch how the nice black guy take the police gun.
Stop! Stop fighting! Stop fighting! Hands off the taser!
Watch how he take the officer taser gun.
Stop fighting!
What a nice black cooperative guy, right? He's not fighting. He's not resisting arrest.
63.
He's not running and shooting the taser. So you heard the lying DA, right? I've been trying to warn you people for 30 years that it has nothing to do with slavery. It has nothing to do with this phony idea of systemic racism, which doesn't exist, made up words. It has nothing to do with white people, but everything to do with the lack of character in the blacks. They are burning and stealing and robbing and killing because they have no morals. They were raised by poor parents with no morals. And they've been brainwashed and dumbed down and demoralized, of course. But this is what's happening. But no one will listen. Oh, let's give the blacks affirmative action. Let's give up our businesses to them. Let them move in our neighborhoods. They would like us then, and it's only gotten worse. Let them do the knockout games. Y'all can just come in and knock us out and whatever. We understand it's slavery. It's systemic racism. Amazing, right? And you heard the cop say, I'm going to tase you. About 3 or 4 times, maybe 3, I believe. I'm going to tase you. The guy's still fighting. But the mayor, a black woman, radical, nasty person. And the DA, a black man, radical, nasty, hateful person. Oh, it's murder. About 2 weeks ago, prior to that incident, Howard, the radical Atlanta DA, the black guy up there lying, Howard concluded that officers' use of tasers was the use of a deadly weapon. And this was in a different case where he called the use of tasers a deadly weapon. Here's Howard, Paul Howard of the Atlanta DA.
The second officer is Willie Sauls, and charged with aggravated assault of Ms. Pilgrim, and this is for pointing a taser at Mrs. Pilgrim. And as many of you all know, under Georgia law, a taser is considered as a deadly weapon under Georgia law.
Amazing. This is why no one liked black people. Did you know that nobody liked black people? They're afraid to say it, but no other races like black people. They don't like them. Because they see how evil they are, but they can't deal with the blacks. And so they just pretend. And everybody else that pretending to work with the blacks, they're using the blacks for destruction. Whether it's abortion, communities, go after white people, and unless the country starts speaking up, and I think they will, I'm thinking, and I could be wrong on this one, that the voters are just waiting until November, and they're going to re-elect this president, and then you'll see more and more people standing up. You cannot let the Democrats in. Joe Biden and none of these crappy Democratic representatives, you don't want them in. And this whole mess is about, yes, it's about getting rid of the police departments, but it's more about getting rid of Donald Trump, the great white hope, so that they can turn America into a socialist society. I want my country back. I want America back. And the president, prior to all this mess, and he still is, he's not giving up. And white people, they're after you in the courts and everywhere. But you're just so nice. The blacks. The blacks. I want the good old days back when boys were boys and men were men. I want my America back. So we got to re-elect the great white hope. Really, if anyone else was in charge at this time, you think this is bad? It will be held to pay in America today. Amazing. And don't forget to like, follow, tweet, subscribe, and share the Just Lee Peterson radio show, folks. We really appreciate it. We are at war. It is a spiritual battle for the soul of America. And it's going to take all of us to do it.